It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk is brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. Banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute. Comprehensive cutting-edge care giving you every reason to choose Hayes Med. United Rentals. Your partner for equipment rental, sales, and service. VTI. Your John Deere dealer. With locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. VTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop. Order by phone or use the Taco Shop app. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. The Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Royal Roofing. Give your home the royal treatment with Royal Roofing. And Eagle, our community connected. Now, Tiger Talk with the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Wellbrock.
And a good Monday morning. Welcome into Tiger Talk as we talk some Fort Hays State basketball. The Tigers ready for the final week of the regular season. Crazy. We're down to the stretch run, coming off a mixed bag on the road this past weekend. Both the men and women losing Thursday at Missouri Southern. Both bounced back with big wins over Pittsburg State on Saturday. This Thursday night, Nebraska Kearney comes to town to wrap up the regular season, 5:30 and 7:30. We'll talk about this past weekend in southwest Missouri, southeast Kansas, and then take a look at the Lopers and more here on the program. Again, you can chime in, send us a question, go to FHSUathletics.com, click on Shop, or click on the Fans tab. You'll get the drop-down menu, and there in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see Tiger Talk Ask the Coach. We use a question, a chance to win a T-shirt, Mix 103.3 T-shirt. Again, a reminder, you can catch any portion of the program or any of our past shows. Go to the Defend the Fort podcast. We have all the audio files of the Tiger Talk, as well as previous games, coaching interviews, player interviews, a whole lot on the Defend the Fort podcast. Check that out wherever you get your podcasts. And you can also catch a video replay of Tiger Talk if you like to watch the show. That'll be up a little bit later on, and you can see that on Hays Post. And again, a reminder, as always, you can listen to our radio call while watching on the MIAA network. Download the TuneIn app, so if you're listening to the game on your smartphone or however you listen to it, your smart speaker, you'll be watching it on your TV, and then pause. Usually the video is a little bit ahead, so pause it right before tip-off. Let the audio catch up. You can sync up the radio play-by-play while watching the Tigers on the MIAA network. Tiger men get a split. They lose a tough one on Thursday night at Missouri Southern. Come back to win on Saturday over Pittsburg State. We're joined now by head coach Mark Johnson, and kind of a mixed bag. Had chances in both games to come away with a sweep. Didn't quite get it done, but I guess that's your overall thoughts on the weekend. A tough one Thursday, but a nice bounce back on Saturday.
Yeah, I felt like, I think we talked about it last week, going to the game, we probably matched up with Pitt State. You know, Southern's a pretty athletic team. We're more, tall, maybe not as athletic, and kind of fit in with Pitt, and I think that showed late in the game. Got off to a great start, really guarded them well the whole game. I think we held them at 35%. I mean, the reason we lost really comes down to one thing. We gave up 21 second chance points. They had a lot of offensive rebounds. A lot of that came late in the game. And, so they shot 35% with all those putbacks. So our first shot defense was even better than that. So, our guys were locked in. It's unfortunate we weren't able to get enough stops down the stretch. And like I said, I think we got stops. We couldn't get the rebound. And, one possession, they got 3 attempts and finally hit a 3. And then I think it was tied with just around a minute to go. And we got to stop, didn't get the rebound. They shot it, got the offensive rebound, and we fouled them, and that's what it comes down to. We talk all the time, when you get to the end of close games, play good defense, get a stop, get a rebound, don't turn it over on offense, and we just couldn't get that rebound. And that's really the key to, winning these close games. And we've kind of talked a little bit like with free throw shooting, rebounding, you want to be good at those things all the time. But even if you're not a great rebounding team, you have to be good in the last 3 minutes of a game. You know, I mean, that's winning time, and we just weren't able to do that, and that was a disappointing thing because we really thought our guys were really locked in, played hard, committed to winning. We just couldn't get enough stops, and offensively, we kind of at times are, you know, we are, and you know, we were 5 of 19 or something like that from three. You know, you make you know, 2 more 3-pointers, you win the game, you know, probably without it having to come down to the last minute.
You miss the last 4 shots, and you throw all those things together, and then when you can't score down the stretch, that even couples it. And you know, it was an interesting game. It was a back and forth for a fan. It had to be fun to follow. It was a tightly contested game, and we talked last week. Southern played some good ball. They kind of stubbed their toe the weekend before, but they kind of found their groove again. It'll be interesting to see what they do on the road at Washburn and Central Missouri this weekend to wrap up the regular season. But you know, sometimes we also talk. It's not always who you play; it's when you play them. And you kind of caught Southern bouncing back, but they had been playing about as well as anybody in the league here really the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I think this is their best team in quite some time. I mean, they shoot the ball well, they have good length, and I think more than anything, they're more committed to doing right. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Their guys are trying to play right. They're taking better shots. They're guarding at a higher level than they have in the past seasons, and got a nice team. And like I said, they got a good combination of athleticism, and they shoot the ball well from the perimeter. That's a pretty good combo to have.
No doubt about that, and they get a nice victory. Kyle Grill got off to a good start, 15 first-half points. I know they kind of shut him down in the second half, but it was good to see Kyle hit some big shots and kind of get back to his form in that first half.
You know, when you look at, you know, we got off to a really good start. I think we were 15-4, kind of let the Washburn game slip away. I would say some of our guys are playing better since we've been, you know, a 500 team since that game. You know, Kyle's shooting the ball better again. Mm-hmm. You know, Mo, maybe outside of the Pitt State game, has played at his best. I think the biggest thing with our team is Dan. People are keying on Dan, and then now Dan, I think, a little bit has lost a little bit of confidence, so he's not putting up those numbers. But honestly, some of our other guys, I think Kyle's playing better down the stretch because he's making his perimeter shots. You know, Kyle's a guy, he's not really an isolation player. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's more of a, you know, play off other people because he can shoot it, and then he's really big and strong and athletic, and he can get downhill off closeouts and things like that. So, you know, we're not the best team as far as creating for others. So I think that's hurt him at times a little bit, not having as many opportunities. But, you know, him and Javari both, we got to find ways. They both kind of get in stretches of scoring, and then there'll be a long period of them not scoring. And, you know, we got to do a better job. And like I said, it's kind of harder for guys who maybe aren't isolate, like Dan, kind of give him the ball, get out of the way, and you know, we need guys to be able to help Kyle and Javari a little better.
You mentioned Mo, maybe not as good on Saturday at Pitt, but 13 points against Southern, 6 of 9 shooting. He's got a really good mid-range. He doesn't shoot the 3-ball much, but is certainly capable. But he's been a bigger boost for you offensively here in the last couple of weeks. I know we talked a little bit about it last week, but it continued onto the weekend. Yeah,
I mean, he can handle the ball. He's athletic enough. You know, he can get around his guy. And like you said, his mid-range is really good. And, you know, we try to encourage him and Lucas both. They just turn down so many threes, which is hard. You know, it's frustrating. They got to be able to launch that because they're capable shooters. And sometimes Mo will turn down that three to get to the mid-range and all that. But he's really played well the last month of the season, and we've definitely needed it from him.
What's harder? You have a kid who maybe shoots it too much to try to temper that back, or in a situation where, hey, shoot the ball a little bit more?
Depends how talented they are. But I mean, Dom Jones. Well, I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
you know what
I mean?
But
point.
Rob Davis didn't say anything. You know, obviously these guys really want to do. You'd rather have the guys that turn them down and are all about team and trying to do the right things and all that. I mean, they just, just need. I wish they'd play with a little more confidence shooting the ball. You know, they spend a lot of time working on their shot and they're capable, and they just need to be. You know, the old adage, you're never as the most open you usually are is right when you first catch it. And, you know, that's one of our problems. We don't make enough threes. One, our percentages are very average, but we don't attempt enough threes also, and that kind of hurts us in today's world. There's so much, you know, three-pointers made. You know, our overall field goal percentage is pretty good. We just don't make enough threes offensively compared to our opponent lots of times.
You mentioned the shooting. Lucas has struggled to the foul line, but maybe this will get him going. He was 6 of 8, I think, at the free throw line on this road trip. That was a good sign. He hit some big ones, especially Saturday down the stretch, but that was good to see. see.
Yeah, I mean, shooting is confidence, you know what I mean? And you even look, some of our other guys are going the other way a little bit, losing a little bit of confidence. So, I mean, whether it be free throws, three-pointers, a lot of it is just, confidence. That's what we talk so much about, guys. If you're struggling to shoot the ball, find a way to get an offensive rebound putback. If you're a perimeter player, find a way to get fouled and get to the free throw line. Those are ways to get your confidence going. But anytime it's just a big deal, big difference between a guy unconfident shooting the ball and a player that's confident. The chances of it going in with the confident guy is a lot higher.
And we say, man, you get one or two, or it's contagious throughout the whole team. We've seen that before.
Yeah, I think so, and especially free throws. I feel like you get somebody who comes in there and kind of gets off to a tough start. Free throws, it kind of avalanches to everybody else, and a little bit it could go the other way. Everybody's making them, then the next guy steps up and he makes them. And same thing, like you said, with your perimeter shots.
Well, the Tigers don't get it done on Thursday. Come back, get a nice win over Pittsburg State on Saturday. We'll talk about that, what that means for the game coming up on Thursday and the conference tournament, all those scenarios when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you by BTI, your full-service John Deere dealer. Locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Nest City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. More Tiger Talk after the break here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
We had a guy that came into the bank. His dream was to own a restaurant. He was turned down from multiple banks, and upon coming in here, having a prior knowledge of who he was, we reviewed his business plan, we talked to him, and we felt strongly that we wanted to join him in this adventure. Ever since we joined with him, he has been very, very successful. It's just really nice to be able to be a part of somebody's dreams. Golden Belt Bank, one story at a time.
Conte breaks the pressure, brings it up floor, plays to Ramirez. Now out high to Martino, sets a screen for Jabari. Can't shoot it, now does. He banked it in and got fouled, and will have a chance for a three-point play. Oh, what a move by Martino. He drew the contact and just kind of threw it off the backboard, and it went in to tie the game at 41. He'll go to the free throw line. That's some of the action from Thursday in Joplin against Missouri Southern. Tigers come up short by 4, 64-60 to the Lions. Took on Pittsburg State Saturday and they get a 65-56 victory. Tiger Talk brought to you by United Rentals, your partner for equipment rental sales and service. Whether it's big or small, you'll find it all at United Rentals in Hayes. Gerard Welbrock, men's basketball coach Mark Johnson. Tigers beat Pitt State on Saturday, 65-56. And again, your team shows perseverance. Not always easy. You have a heartbreaking loss. I know that hit you guys hard, but they came out locked in, ready to go, and just a really solid effort against Pittsburg State on Saturday at John Lance Arena.
Yeah, I mean, we have really good guys. I mean, great teammates to each other, want to do well, want to win, and all that, and really came out. And again, we played hard again, and I agree. We've had a few heartbreaks here late. I mean, a lot of teams maybe aren't ready to play, and big key was our defense. Jabari did an exceptional job on the Rogers kid. We put some size on Mason. A lot of these teams are putting their point guard on him, and he just bulldogs them. It's a little bit like when we play Western. I think our advantage, why we've done well against Western, we put Dan on Noah King instead of a perimeter player, and I think that really Kyle and those guys did a good job on him. And so the combination of slowing down their guards and then did enough offensively, made enough shots, made enough plays, especially down the stretch. I thought we were big. Dan was big down the stretch. Kyle had a really important three that maybe we talked about. We missed our last 4 or 5 shots against Southern. I think Kyle had the big three, give us a little separation. They semi-answered back, and then Lucas had the big floater to kind of ice the game, and that was the difference. But, overall, I thought we did really well, played well. Our defense, once again, really made it hard on the other teams.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up. You put size on English, and you made the analogy. It looks like he could be a linebacker for the Pitt State football team. He's a big guy, built a little bit differently than his brother who played there. But he'd been having a really good year for just a freshman, and you kind of neutralized him because of that size, never really let him get on track. And he and Rogers both had the ability to take that little step-back jumper, and you never really let them get in the flow of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Rogers was pretty much all Jabari. I mean, Jabari's just athletic and toughness. And then Mason, again, putting size. He's a point guard. He's not the most athletic point guard. He beats you extremely skilled player at 6'2", and I don't know what 200 something. He's a big kid, and really they try to post him a lot. I think outside of the first play of the game, they didn't really post us because we had size on him. So I think that was a factor. But yeah, I mean, our guys really did a good job of being ready to play, and really we really had a good defensive weekend. It's unfortunate we only went 1-1 because we guarded at a high level.
We talked a little bit after the game. We talked about Javari's defense, and it's funny you brought it up in your post-game interview because I had said it before you came out about the all-defensive team. If Javari's not on it, let's get rid of it. What he's done game in, game out against usually the opponent's number one guard. Usually that's a lot of times their number one scorer. And you watch the game, you'd never guess that would be the case going into a game because you look at Rogers came in, 19 points a game, and he goes 3 of 10, misses all 4 threes, finishes with 9 points, and he got a few of those late. Just phenomenal what he has really done defensively against usually some of the better players in the conference.
Yeah, it really frustrates the other team, those guys. I think Northwest, the Garrett kid, we could go on and on about all the guys he's faced. He's done a great, he's 6 foot, but if you look at him, he's extremely long-armed, and he's athletic. So then, if you're long-armed, you're athletic, and then if you have toughness and get through every screen, the big key to our defense, what Caleb did so well is getting through ball screens. If you have guards who can't get in today's game, if they can't get through ball screens and your bigs have to sit there and hold and help, now you're just putting too many rotations. You got to have guards that are athletic enough and then tough enough to get through them immediately, so your bigs are really only helping for a half, little quick show, half a count show, and then they're back to their man, and then we're back, and they can't get us in rotations. So that is a big key. And then, Mo does it when Javari's out. Mo comes in and does a good enough job, so we kind of have, it's not just a total drop-off. Mo's athletic enough to fight that. But that's been a big key, and I think going into the season was one of our biggest concerns. I know when Caleb left, offense, we're talking about, what we're going to – but we were also as much concerned about defensively, what are we going to do without Caleb? And then Javari has just really stepped in and done a tremendous job.
Well, as you've always said, to play good defense, obviously you have to work well as a unit, shifting rotations, helping, but you also have to be able to get some guys stopped one-on-one, and this I've obviously shown and have over the years, but the ability to do that.
Yeah, maybe I don't know enough about football, but I always feel like it's a little bit like secondary coverage. You're going to run a lot of different coverage. Your guys got to find their zone, whatever. You got to have all your secondary in the right spots and do all this. But to be really good, you got to have a cornerback you can put on their best, receiver. So it's a combination of both, and that's basketball. You have to have guys that can rotate around. So many times when someone scores, over half the time, it wasn't the man's fault who was guarding him. A guy didn't rotate, didn't do his coverage correctly, whatever, and those guys score. But then against really good players, you have to have someone that can just take them one-on-one and be able to make it hard on them and not let them just – because sometimes it's not a help situation or a coverage situation. It's just man-on-man, and you got to have guys that can individually do that, and Javari does it at a pretty good level.
You mentioned Dan finishing strong. It was a rough day for him, but, man, when it counted, he made some big baskets down the stretch for you.
Yeah, I thought he got physical down the stretch. He had struggled a little bit, to start the game, but then at the end, I agree, the last however, I don't know how felt like he had a lot of his points down the stretch, had some big plays. And, that's what he needs to do. He's losing, he's doubting himself on his mid-range. He shot that at such a high level all year long, and then probably the last 3 weeks, not as much. And you can kind of see him, hesitating, getting frustrated with it. And if that's the case, then you got to go find a way to get closer to the rim. And he's, again, a little bit like Jafari. Dan is he's all of 6'8", but he's extremely long-armed. He probably has a longer wingspan than your typical 6'8" player. So that's why defensively he's good, athletic enough, but he doesn't have to be all over you to contest because his arms are so long. And same thing around the rim. He can play longer than 6'8" because of his length.
I played some freshmen in this. He got in foul trouble. Lucas and Kyle Grill got in some foul trouble early on in that one, and it was going to be a problem. But with the new rule with redshirting, you can play some games. You brought in a couple of them, Tegan Curley and Zach Sharkey, and thought gave you some really big minutes with the final maybe 5 of that first half to kind of keep your head above water and not let Pitt close that gap a little bit while Lucas and Kyle had to wait it out on the sideline because of those foul troubles.
Yeah, I mean, they were in foul trouble, and it just felt like we're getting late in the year. Guys are probably playing a little bit too many minutes. Zach, I mean, that's a hard spot to be put in because he really hasn't, played at all.
One game, I think.
You know what I mean? But he's in a good way. I mean, he's arrogant and confident enough in a good way to go out there and he didn't panic. He didn't turn it over. He got Dan a shot. Dan just happened to miss, but he got him a good shot defensively. He got his hand on 2 balls, 2 deflections, and all that. So, and then Tegan's, 6'6", very long, athletic, and can improves our length at times in certain positions. And we like our freshmen. I think the big thing about our freshmen, all 4 of those guys, they're good basketball players. You know what I mean? If that means they can all dribble, pass, and shoot, and that's really today's game. And I think they'll really help us in the future. Be able to at times right now we struggle to hit guys when they're open, not out of selfishness or anything. We don't see it. And those are hard things to get better at. I think what our freshmen can do with the guys we have coming back, really be a nice combination and hopefully they just keep getting better.
That was fun to see a glimpse of that on Saturday. Tigers get the big win and now getting set to wrap up the regular season. Nebraska Kearney on Thursday. Big game for the Tigers, trying to work on some seeding for the conference tournament. We'll talk about that when we return. Tiger Talk brought to you by Golden Belt Bank. Banking one story at a time. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis. Visit them at goldenbeltbank.com. More with Coach Johnson after the timeout here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
At BTI, we pride ourselves on providing quality John Deere equipment and customer support. Since 1944, BTI has been serving farmers and commercial operators with mowers, tractors, and compact construction equipment at an affordable price. As a leader in the ag industry, BTI offers complete technology solutions so our farmers can help keep America running. Experience the BTI difference for yourself.
Call BTI.
Our family in partnership with your family.
Grill on the right wing. He'll launch a three-pointer. He knocked it in. Kyle Grill with his first 3. It's a big one. 57-49. A 9-0 run by Fort Hays State after the Gorillas came back to take the lead. That was a big 3 we talked about earlier from Kyle. Tigers hold off a little run there by Pitt State, get the win on Saturday. Now get set to wrap up the regular season this Thursday night. They'll be at home taking on the Lopers of Nebraska Kearney. Welcome back to Tiger Talk, brought to you by the Taco Shop. You can order by phone or use the Taco Shop app. The Taco Shop, you've never had it so good. Well, the win gives you a chance to maybe avoid Wednesday in the first round of the MIAA tournament. Out of your control now. You need a win, obviously, over Kearney and get some help, but at least the opportunity is there to get you to the quarterfinal round.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big response here. You had a heartbreaker on Thursday, and then they come back, take the lead, and it would have been easily to fold it up, but our guys did a good job responding, and now we got to just worry about what we can do, and that's win against Kearney, which won't be easy. Kearney, I mean, they go to Southern and they score 92 points and lose. They're offensively, they're as hard to guard as the top 1, 2, and 3 teams in our league. They struggle to stop the other team, and that's just not. We're not going to put up a lot of points. That's just not how it is. I mean, every game for us, it is what it is, but I think it doesn't matter who we're playing. It's the same game. You know what I mean? We can play Washburn, Central Missouri, the top 2 teams, or we can play Newman, Emporia, Kearney, Northwest. I mean, it's going to come out. We're going to have to guard the heck out of them, and we're going to have to find a way to score enough points. For us, Kearney is just as challenging and difficult as a game to win as it is, like I said, Washburn and Central Missouri. There's kind of a pattern here. The games kind of go the same way. And I think that's a really credit to our guys in the fact that they have to be, our guys have to come in so locked in and ready to play every night to get a win in the MIAA. We just have to be maxing out for us to win, and our guys continually do that. Says a lot about the kind of the people they are, that, they can't afford to take a weekend off. They can't take a game off, for us to win. And we've had a little bit, like I said, a little bit of heartbreak. It seems like the last few weeks, but we're going to be in close games every time. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who we're playing. For the most part, it's going to be a close game, and that's hard to do, to get yourself ready to go again. And like I said, it says a lot about the character and the group of guys we have.
Well, it takes a lot mentally out of players, but again, you said they just keep answering the bell. And the first meeting, that's been so long ago, back in early January up in Kearney, didn't play particularly well, but yet found a way to get a last-second shot to potentially win it. But the good point guard, they've got decent size. Got some kids who can really shoot it. I mean, up and down the lineup, as you said, very difficult to defend. They've got a nice lineup in that regard.
Yeah, the two teams that give us problems is Fort Smith and Kearney. Like I said, they have good size, not necessarily up front. They play, everybody can shoot the ball, but they're two guard, you know what I mean? And we play two small guards. So at times that's a challenge, and that really hurt us, especially to start the game. The Williams kid really got off to a good start. You look down at Fort Smith, the Holder kid got off to, so that's the big challenge for us. They have one little point guard. He's really good. You feel like you got to put Javari on him. Now Lucas and Mo, everybody they're going to try to guard is 6'5" or taller. So that's probably the matchup that gives us a little bit of problems all season, is those two teams, because they're so big at the 2 and 3, that when we play our two little guards, it's kind of a tough matchup. And then they change their defense, their zone, their 1-3-1, their man-to-man and all that. And, they really get hurt from the 3 bad, and that's not really what we do. So, but yeah, again, we were right there, and I know our guys will be ready to go, and we'll try to make it as difficult as we can on them. And it's one last game of the season. It's a home game. It's a rivalry game with Kearney, and then we need to win it to give us still a chance for best seeding. Still probably a little bit of, I don't know, if we're not in this week in the rankings, not number 10 or 9 or 10, we're probably 11. So that's still in play. Probably have to come win on Thursday, win at least one, probably maybe 2 conference tournament games. So we'll see. We just need to come out and do our best.
But as you said, last game at home, been great crowds, great atmosphere again this year, and which is a testament to the fan base showing up, and hopefully can send them off on a good note on Thursday night.
I agree. We've really had this spring, or since school's been back in session and all that, our crowds have been really good, and our guys are appreciative and understand, especially when we go to some other places, how lucky they are to get to play at Fort Hays State.
Well, congratulations on the win Thursday. Have a good week of practice. Looking forward to seeing you on Thursday night against those Lopers in Nebraska Kearney.
All right, thanks, George.
There you go. Mark Johnson, coach of the Tigers. Again, Fort Hays State and UNK. 7:30 for the men. Women will tip it off at 5:30 on Thursday night. We'll take a break. When we return, women's coach Talia Kars will join us here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
Looking for unique flavor at low prices? Look no further than Taco Shop in Hays. We have original, made-from-scratch Mexican food, sure to satisfy an empty stomach. Take a bite out of these delicious deals. Grab a beef or cheese enchilada, bite into a beef and bean burrito, or chow down on a Sancho. Save time with our free Taco Shop app. Have delicious fresh taste in just a few taps. Dine in, get it to go, or have it delivered. Taco Shop. You've never had it so good.
Come on down to the taco shop. You never had it. You never had it so good. To the taco shop.
They stable inbound. Schumann gets it on the right wing. Up top, Michaela Pilley. Pilley top of the key to Telexa Weeder. A jab step, fires a 3. It rattles home. Telexa Weeder with 5, and she becomes the 5th player in MIAA history to score 700 or more points in a season, and the first to do it in 20 years, and she puts the Tigers back on top 16-15. That was on Thursday night in Joplin. Milestone bucket there for Telexa Weeder. Unfortunately, coming in a tough loss for the Fort Hays State women. Welcome back to Tiger Talk. We certainly encourage you to get looking your best on Tiger Game Day. Go to the official Nike team store on the Fort Hays State Athletics website from BSN Sports and the Sideline store. Go to FHSUathletics.com, click on Shop. You'll find hundreds of items, and the cool thing, they're all customizable. That's FHSUathletics.com, the athletics website. Click on Shop and open up the Tiger team store. Head coach Talia Kars joins us. Yeah, a couple of milestones this weekend. That basket from Telexa giving her 7 700 points on the season. Second Tiger to do so, and the fifth in the MIAA, first in 20 years, and then an assist, the fourth of the game at that point. She had 12 for the day, but an assist from Brooke Levy on Saturday, and she set the MIAA record for assists in a single season. Pretty cool stuff from those two.
No, it definitely is. They're playing really good basketball and just really fun to watch. And I think people see that, thankfully, but it's been even just watching film, even on a Thursday when we didn't play very well, watching film, it's fun to watch. Like, I enjoy going back and watching film just because of how they play and what they do and the way they share the ball and the way they can knock down shots and all those things. They're a fun team to watch.
I know you said you probably watched a little more on this road trip than you normally have, or maybe quicker. Frustrating on Thursday night. And Southern's a good team. I think we lose track of that. I mean, they are in third place right now in the MIAA, and we're in first for a good chunk of the year until they stubbed their toe a couple of times at home last weekend. But a really good basketball team, and they showed to have an athletic post, and I think gave Telexis some trouble. Didn't get a favorable whistle, which is going to happen sometimes, and just made for a frustrating night for your team. Haven't had many of those this year, but it was on Thursday.
Yeah, I didn't think we handled the things that we couldn't control very well, and we needed to do a better job of responding to different things, physicality being one of them. And we didn't take care of the ball like we would have liked to because of the physicality, and then offensive boards, we gave up too many of those.
Yeah, I mean, you look at really the weekend, if there's one thing that you feel your team's going to have to improve on going forward if you hope to make a run in Kansas City for the conference tournament title and NCAA, is that the second chance points. You gave up 28 of them on Thursday night, but then you couple it with the 18 turnovers, which turned into 24 points off turnovers. You could have been playing at home. That's going to be tough to overcome, especially on the road against a really good opponent. Yeah,
no, the fact that we did that and we still had a chance to win the game just says a lot about what we were doing, and we were doing things well, some things well, and obviously not those things, and that was the difference in the game.
And you had a little bit of problem with Pitt with the second chance points, but I thought down the stretch you did a much better job, and you did a better job of offensive rebounding in that game. So it was good to see your team respond to that adversity from Thursday night.
Yeah, no, really happy with the way that we ended that game and the way that we just battled back and kind of put ourselves in a hole there, and we did. We made a difference on the boards on both sides of the ball, making sure that we got a second chance when we had the opportunity to, and then we made sure they didn't get a second chance. Didn't do a very good job on their 5-man as far as rebounding goes. She had a
good rebounder.
She is a good rebounder, and she had a really good game on that side of things. But overall, I thought we did a much better job at that.
Well, and then you cut down the turnovers. You had it in single digits, and then you only, I think, gave up 1 point off turnover against Pitt State. I mean, you break down the two games, pretty easy to see why you lost to Southern, and it's easy to see why you had the comeback win. You didn't give them a lot of breakaway, a lot of easy opportunities with turnovers, and that was good to see.
Yeah, I thought in the first half the physicality was getting to us a little bit on Saturday, and we did have more turnovers than I would have liked, but then the second half we pretty much eliminated them, and we're making the right play on the offensive end.
You go back to Thursday's game, that first half was wild, and I think you were down 4 at the break. You probably could have, few things go differently, had the lead, but it was up and down. Two teams playing at a really, really high level. I don't think you played terrible defense. They just hit some remarkable shots, and I think they kind of pride themselves on their D. They probably were saying the same thing.
Yeah, no, they did a good job of getting to their ball screens and making it tough to guard on that. And our help side defense wasn't very good on Thursday of just rotation, and that's kind of what Mark said too. Is it's not all the time. It's not always the person on the ball that's not in the right spot. It's the people away from the ball that we needed that backside help that we count on when we are aggressive on the ball, and it wasn't as sharp as it normally is, and so we're hurting on that side of things. And then offensively, just gave them too many easy points as far as just getting them out in transition, and they're a good transition team, and so when you give them a ball in a turnover situation, they're probably going to go back and do something similar to the way that we do.
And it was one of those games, and they happened. It just felt like, I don't even say you're a half step slow, but but it's just like a ball was loose. You'd get a hand on it. They'd get a hand on it, and it would bounce right to one. I remember one possession. They ended up getting an offensive rebound in a three.
Yep.
You were there.
Yep.
It's just the ball bounced where they went off someone's forehead and went right to her in the corner for an open three. And just, you, for whatever reason, couldn't get those balls.
Yep. Nope. It just didn't bounce our way. And I think between Thursday and Saturday, both, we had several three-pointers that hit the rim about 3 times and then came out. And so, yeah, it wasn't our night on Thursday, and I think we found a little luck on Saturday.
And Olivia, good to see her. Mortensen, she had 20 points in the game on Thursday night. To kind of keep you in there. It was a tough day for Telexa, who had 16, a season low this year for her. But it was good to see Olivia step up and hit some big baskets to give you at least a chance.
Yeah, no, it was fun to see her step up, especially late in the game, and take some ownership and as a freshman to really step into that role and try to make something happen. I think it was really fun to be able to see just the fight in her late in the game, especially just to try to create and give us a chance.
And Avery Lowe gave you a good game on Thursday. 7 points, 6 rebounds, which tied Telexa for the team lead. One of her better games.
Yeah, no, she did a good job of knocking down those shots when they were playing off of her and really guarding Telexa. She stepped up and was ready to shoot it, which I think all of our people that are playing alongside Telexa have done a better job this year of catching ready to shoot and knocking down those open shots.
Well, the Tigers come up short. 78-67 ends up being the final, and then had a big bounce back on Pitt State on Saturday. We'll talk about that. I did want to ask you about, we played in, I say the auxiliary gym. It's their original gym, Young Gymnasium, and it is. It's just pull-out bleachers on each side, nothing along the baselines but a brick wall. Unique environment as they modify and do some upgrades and some repair work to their main Leggett and Platt Athletic Center. But I don't know, if I'm Missouri Southern, I may consider maybe making some upgrades to that gym. It wasn't overly big, a field with fans, but it was a good crowd, but it was loud, and that's a huge home court advantage. It's pretty much unique to anything you get in the MIAA.
It was loud. I thought offensively we weren't communicating super well, and so that was part of the reason we struggled a couple of possessions, is that we weren't on the same page. And part of that is to their credit of how loud it was in there, and the fans were loud and the band was loud. And the head coach for Southern said that he would prefer to play in there probably if they did some revamping, just because it makes the atmosphere that much better, because they only get about 500 fans, and so it's a good atmosphere.
Yeah, but 500 in a place that holds about 1,800 certainly makes it a little bit different, but the Tigers couldn't overcome. But then Pitt State on Saturday, national ranked showdown, number 25 against number 6, and the Tigers respond with a big overtime win. We'll talk about that game and also look ahead to this week, final game of the regular season, Nebraska-Kearney rolling to town on Thursday night. Tiger Talk brought to you today by the Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, offering the most comprehensive orthopedic care in western Kansas. Why travel hours when the best in the region is right here at Hayes Med? We'll have more after the break here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle. With 4:20 to go in the game, Levy drives down to Mortensen, a corner three, good! Olivia Mortensen's first three-pointer, she has 7. It's a 7-point game, 53-50, 5-0 run by Fort Hays State. Yeah, Fort Hays State would go on an eventual 10-0 run, part of a bigger 13-2 run in the fourth quarter as they rally to knock off the Pittsburgh State Gorillas on Saturday in overtime, 74-71. They rally from 15 down in the first half. It was quite a ball game between two nationally ranked opponents. And welcome back to Tiger Talk. It's brought to you by Royal Roofing, the #1 local roofing company. Roofing, guttering, siding, and windows. Call today. Get a free estimate and give your roof the Royal treatment with Royal Roofing. Pitt had been kind of Lincoln Oil here down the stretch. Lost to Kearney, and so their chances for the league title have slipped away. I mean, they're trying to still be in a position to make the NCAA tournament seeding. So you caught a desperate Pitt State team, and they came out ready to go, and it felt like, uh-oh, here we go again. Yeah. It was a rough day, but to your team's credit, they found it in them. And not saying for the first time, but they haven't been in a position where they've had to come from behind like that too often. But to do it on the road against the 25th ranked team, they showed a lot of fight in this game. That's got to be encouraging.
It definitely is, especially after Thursday and facing a loss, and it would have been easy to give up on Saturday too. And just a fun way to watch the girls come back and compete and do the right thing and be all in and be locked in and all those things, to be able to execute like we did and knock down shots like we did, and then be able to get stops and guard in a press that we haven't practiced a lot, a little bit, but really not a lot. And I just thought we did a really good job of just going all out, giving everything they had, and it was good to come away with the win.
It was very good to come away with the win, and I thought defensively, especially in that fourth quarter, Coach Johnson, I thought, had a good thing. If you shoot free throws poor or whatever it is, rebound, you got to be good when it's win time down the stretch. And I thought your team was really good in the half-court D, and even though you gave up some second-chance points, you were really good down the stretch.
Yeah, no, we really were. Making sure that we had bodies on people on rebounds, and then when they're in the zone, a zone's hard to rebound off of for defense, and so we made sure we went to the boards on offense, and gave ourselves a second opportunity to score if we didn't get it in the first time. And then on the opposite in the half court, I thought we did a much better job late in the game.
McCumber's really good. I mean, she's the top rebounder in the conference. She had 22, and there were times the ball didn't either bounce your way, or sometimes when you're guarding her, I mean, the person defending her just gets out of position just by the nature of playing defense, and so she got a lot of them in that regard, which I know sometimes you can't do anything about that, but obviously that's still an area that has to get better here down the stretch.
Yep, nope, definitely. And something that we're going to look at a little bit today is just figuring out how you can contest and still turn around and try to get the board. And at worst, have somebody else come in and get the board. Yeah. And so we just got to do a better job of having a little bit more urgency when it comes to rebounding. And
we talked about it in the last segment. You turn it over, I think it ends up being 11 times in the game, but you only give up 1 point off those turnovers, which is so key. So that was good to see that trend back in the right direction, and one of the main reasons you came back to win that game.
No, most definitely. We didn't give them easy chances. Not as good of a transitioning team as Southern is, but definitely something that we need to lock in on, because Kearney also does a really good job at that.
And Brooke, a triple-double. She'd been flirting with it for so long. Now she has 2 of them, 12 points, 10 boards, 12 assists in the ball game. She came up big time. I know she rolled her ankle against Southern. She's been dealing with a knee issue, but you really couldn't tell on Saturday.
No, she was ready to go. I thought she looked a little tired in the first half, but we were able to give her a break and didn't let anything go there. And then she came back in the second half, and like I said on Saturday, I asked them, "Do you got it in you?" Because if they didn't, it wasn't going to be effective. Yeah. And they told me they did, and so we pressed for that last 10 minutes of the game, and it really showed their heart, just knowing that they are fatigued and their bodies are tired and playing their second game in 3 days, and just was really proud of how they fought.
Well, and credit to them. It'd be easy to say, yeah, coach, we're fine, and then, not really be fine, but to tell you, and then to trust in you to, hey, if they say they're good to go, we can press, we're good to go to press. I mean, it has to be that trust there, and the ability for them to say, hey, no, we can't. We got to figure a different way. It says a lot about this team.
Yeah, no, it definitely does, and that's something Brooke didn't answer, because Brooke's getting back kind of at half court, and so she's like, I was waiting for somebody else to say something, because I can get back to half court and press. That's fine. But those other 3 that were up there on the ball, Ellie and Michaela and Liv, just really locked in and made it difficult for them to get it in, and then difficult to just bring it up one-on-one, and we had the opportunity to trap. We'd go trap.
And Michaela, late in the overtime, made a big defensive stop, and you talked about he had a timeout in the bag, and she was able to get possession, call the timeout, allowed you to advance. That was big, because you'd gotten the overtime lead. They kind of came back, and it was still in the balance. That was a huge play down the stretch of that one.
It was, and Ellie started the play by kind of reaching in and making them have to make an extra pass, and then Michaela rotated, and that's what we're talking about, that off-the-ball stuff. We were on the ball hard, coming off a ball screen. I think Ellie helped, maybe longer, deeper than we normally do, but she knew that we needed to make an extra pass, so she did that, and then Michaela followed and made another play at the ball, and we were able to recover it, and I think that was a difference to end the game. And
you saw a lot of zone, a lot of mixed up defenses with them again, and it feels like you're handling that pretty well, because you're getting a lot of different looks from teams.
Yeah, no, we are, and we're good passers, but we're also good shooters, and so I think that's also maybe why we haven't seen it as much until just late in the year here, is they're scared to guard us like that, because we have been shooting the 3 really well, but I thought we handled it really well, and once we kind of all got on the same page, we were trying to do a couple different things than we have in the past. And so at a free throw, I was trying to get them in where they want them to go on offense, and Brooke came over. She's like, "No, what do you want? Like, what do you want?" Because it was a little different, just one different pass. And but I felt like it gave us a better look by being able to do that, and the way that they communicated and were able to execute it still without really knowing exactly what we were trying to do. I thought they did a good job at that.
Teams obviously defend Telexa. She's a focal point. We talk about it every week, but she goes 34 points, career high 15 rebounds. It just felt like everybody was more patient on Saturday than they were on Thursday. Some of those turnovers are maybe forcing it or just not the best pass to try to get it to Lexa. It felt like she was more patient, the team was more patient, and then as we see so often, eventually it breaks down. She gets her one-on-one looks and then does what she does.
Yep. No, I thought Thursday we had probably 2 5-minute stretches where we were just making a bad pass or not executing right or taking an early shot, and we weren't being patient with the ball. And that's when teams get away from you one way or the other. And I thought we did a better job on Saturday of trying to execute and trying to run the play and then taking what they gave us, and we weren't in a super big hurry. I think in the first half we maybe had a stretch like that, but the second half I thought we did a much better job of just letting the offense work and seeing where we had opportunities to attack.
And then Telex hasn't. She's put a lot of miles on this year, and maybe it's just her percentage is dropping a little bit. I'm sure that has something to do with it. But again, game on the line. We mentioned that 10-0 run. I think she scored the last 3 of those on an and one, but then she scores 10 in a row when you certainly needed her. But again, it was kind of wearing down that defense, and then you got some of those matchups where she's pretty tough to stop.
Yeah, nope. And when she's in her zone, she's tough to guard, and she's going to make those shots. And I think in the third quarter she was trying to get us those shots, and they weren't falling, and so just trusting our offense and making sure maybe somebody else can get the shot to fall. And then again, when it was crunch time late, she was able to knock down the shots that we needed her to knock down.
But she did score a lot of points, but Michaela Pilley had 6, and against the zone we saw that against Emporia at home. She found a couple creases, hit a couple of big shots to the game was still in the balance. You're hanging in there, but you hadn't quite started your run, but it gave you a chance to get on that run late.
No, definitely. It's nice to be able to have those kids that step up and are willing to take those shots in big moments, and we have several of those kids that can do that, and one shot makes a big difference, and the hoop gets maybe a little bit bigger or opens up somebody else a little bit more because now they weren't guarding her, and now you got a guarder, and so then something else shakes loose.
Yeah, the courage to take a big shot late, easy to talk about, but not always easy to do, but we've seen a lot of people step up. And of course, we'll talk about the great inbound play that gave the Tigers the tie and force overtime. We'll hear that highlight and talk about that, and then preview Nebraska Kearney when we come back. Tiger Talk brought to you by BTI, your full-service John Deere dealer. They've got locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family, in partnership with your family. One final segment of Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by PwC from Eagle.
Tired of equipment that's seen better days? Or maybe you have a project that requires a bigger machine than you own. This is Blake from United Rentals and Hayes, and we have you covered. Whether you're a contractor, a farmer, or working on your own project, we've got the machinery you need. Big or small, and everything in between, you can rent it for a day, a week, or a month. And if you're looking to own, we have a huge inventory of reliable used equipment for sale. Plus, we can service and repair the equipment you already own. Stop by United Rentals on South Vine and Hayes. We're your one-stop shop for rentals, used equipment sales, and repairs.
Levy to inbounds, looking, lobs over the top, Weeder catches, goes up, scores! She scores! We're tied! 0.6 of a second to go, and we're going to overtime! They lobbed it over the top of the defense, and Telexa Weeder lays it in to tie it up at 65! Yeah, thrilling end of the regulation. Tigers win at 74-71 over Pitt on Saturday. Let's talk about that real quick. You had a chance earlier, and they made a great defensive play, blocked Ellie Stearns going in for a layup, but just, they get 1 or 2 free throws, gives you that chance. You're able to call the timeout to advance. Just talk about the play. Obviously, it worked to perfection for you guys.
Yeah, it really did. We weren't sure if they were going to go around the basket or the 3, and that's a hard decision to make for them defensively is, do you give up a 3 in hopes that they miss, or do you take away the 3 and know that at least you're only going to give up a tie? And they were kind of guarding Telexa, and so we had 2 options that we were going to look at, and the help side kind of left just right at the perfect time, and we told T to kind of play it off, and she did a really good job, and Brooke was convinced she didn't know what the play was. So Brooke was like, cut. And then she cut just right as the help side was leaving, and that was probably about as open of a shot as she had all night.
Yeah, really. And we talked about it after the game. Good job of catching because you could see it's there. And sometimes you see players maybe rush it because they're waiting for help defense, maybe bobble the pass, but she caught it, gathered it, made the shot, and obviously the rest was history.
Yeah, no. It says a lot about Brooke, too, to be able to make that pass. It's a tough pass. And then for T to catch it on the left side obviously is a harder pass than maybe catching it on the right side. So probably a bad move on my part as far as which side we set the play up on. But they did a really good job of making the clutch play late in the game and making the right pass. And it was a big time play, and glad to be able to see something like that happen.
Well, they've been a great duo all year, and they came through in the clutch there. Got the Tigers to overtime. They beat Pittsburgh State, holding on to second place in the conference. And now, final game of the regular season coming up on Thursday night. Nebraska-Kearney comes to town. Obviously, the Loper season hasn't gone the way they've wanted, but I guarantee you one thing, they'll be ready to play on Thursday night. Obviously, no love lost between the two programs and the two teams, and you'll have to play well. You'll have to play as well as you have all year to get out here the win.
Yeah, no, they're fighting for their life right now to get into the conference tournament, and so they're going to come in ready to go, and they've lost some games I think they would have liked to have back, and they're a better team than their record shows. I think they're really, really tough. They do a good job of scoring from a lot of different places on the offensive end, so they're tough to guard and figuring out how to help. And then defensively, they're as hard of a team to score on in the league as there is. They beat Pitt on Thursday because of just really contesting shots around the basket, and that was something that we were fouling consistently. We were fouling Pitt, and Kearney just goes straight up and makes a physical play, and they're really tough to score on.
Well, it'll be an interesting game. As you said, everybody's got something to play for here. And who knows, with Central Missouri, they've got to play Pitt, and they've got to play Missouri Southern. Those are capable teams that can certainly knock them off. But, I guess you can't control that. All you can control is going out, playing hard, finding a way to get a win here in this next upcoming game, and then let those chips fall where they may, and then move on to the conference tournament.
Yep, nope. We got to get better in the next 3 days to make sure we're ready to go for Kearney. We were down on the road up there, a lot of turnovers again, and so really locking in on that, making sure we're taking care of the ball, not letting them have transition baskets because they transition really well. So we just got to make sure that we're taking care of the things that we got to take care of, and then everything else will take care of itself.
And final time to play at home. We talked about with Coach Johnson. Fans have been great this year. The atmosphere has been awesome. Hopefully they all show up one more time and make the Coliseum a tough place to play.
Yeah, no, should be two really good games, both really hard-fought games up at Kearney, and so we expect the same on Thursday.
All right, sounds good. We'll see you then. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jared.
That's Talia Cars, Tigers, and the Lopers. One final game here at home this year. That'll be Thursday night. Women at 5:30. Men will follow at 7:30. Our coverage at 5:05 on Thursday night right here on Tiger Radio Mix 103.3. That's going to wrap up the program. Appreciate you joining us today. We'll have one more basketball show next week leading into the MIAA tournament. Get a preview for both the men and the women. That's going to wrap it up for Jordan behind the camera, Vivian back in the studio. This is Gerard Walbrock. So long, everyone.